Blink and you'd miss it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it.
With that, the City Council passed a personnel order that approved pay for Councilor Tania Fernandes Anderson's staff. One stood out for its size, more than $14,000 in salary and bonuses for the person now identified in the indictment as Staffer A.
Continue to follow breaking news. Boston City Councilor Tania Fernandes Anderson was arrested earlier this morning by FBI Boston agents on corruption charges.
You know, Tania Fernandes Anderson has a lot of firsts on the Boston City Council. She is the first Muslim, the first African immigrant, and the first formerly undocumented immigrant to serve.
Ms. Fernandes Anderson and staff member A texted each other, and they arranged for a meetup in a bathroom in City Hall. That meeting happened in the bathroom around 4 o'clock or so on that Friday. And when they met inside that bathroom, Ms. Fernandes Anderson put $7,000 in cash in her pocket, the grand jury alleges. All of that money was funded by the taxpayers of the city of Boston.
Excuse us. Excuse us.
Opportunity for you to say a few.
No, we're not commenting, guys.
Boston City Councilor Tania Fernandes Anderson silent as reporters try to get answers about allegations of stealing taxpayer money.
For your message to your voters.
We have nothing to say to you guys.
Gotta head over to Boston where we have another city girl scammer, this time on the Boston City Council. That city girl councilwoman, Tania Fernandes Anderson. Tania went from an undocumented illegal alien to a Democrat politician, and now she was hit with a federal indictment, facing time in the federal penitentiary. This 45-year-old Cape Verdean made history when she was elected to the Boston City Council in 2021. She was praised for becoming the first immigrant from the continent of Africa ever elected to the Boston City Council, the first Muslim ever elected to the Boston City Council, and the first ever former undocumented immigrant. Now, just 3 years later, she's making history once again. The first Cape Verdean, first African, first Muslim, first illegal alien is now the first woman to be hit with a federal indictment in her position. Can you believe it? So much history, and we all have the privilege of witnessing it. Take a second to make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell for all updates. Shout out to everybody watching from Boston. If you're from Boston, drop Boston below in the comments.
Because councilors, for example, all the white councilors here stick together, that they will vote or try to move the districts in a way that is not diverse sufficiently to be able to vote in electeds of color. We have fought for a very long time. It is 2022. We're going back and forth about allegations, but here, people are not innocent until proven guilty. People are guilty first. People are crucified. People are lynched. Same old tricks, same masters though. And still, people, now everything's changed and everybody's upset. Everybody is boiling up. People are calling me and telling me, don't say anything, stay in your lane, be quiet, sit down, you will lose your seat, they won't vote for you. Fight, don't fight. What the do I have to do in this council in order to get respect as a black woman? And I'm gonna tell you, I am not afraid of losing the votes. I'm not afraid of the seat. I'm not afraid of anybody here.
Yeah, that's the city councilwoman. She was elected in November 2021, and by 2022, she was yelling and screaming at the city council meetings under the disguise of a black American woman, wanting respect and calling out white supremacy.
I don't hate you as a white woman. I don't hate you as a white man. I am sick and tired of this body so stupidly racially divided, so afraid, so depraved. People with no faith. Because they are afraid of their losing their advancement. They're afraid of bargaining. They're afraid of leveraging. These people have, oh my God, I can't even call you cowards because desperation deserves mercy. Desperation deserves mercy. We've all hurt each other here. But here's a redistricting. Fine, we give it to a white woman. Can we all get along? Can we get together? Can we love each other now? Can we make sure that black and brown babies don't die? Can we make sure that cops don't kill before people are proven innocent? Can we do that? No, 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 because this body crucifies you first because of allegations. This is not a court. You don't get to crucify people before they're proven guilty. They're innocent until proven guilty.
She got a lot of attention for cursing and slamming her hands on the table and received praise from some people in black media as she pulled off her best Al Sharpton style performance. She was using the black American struggle to not only gain support, but to also finesse money out of taxpayers while acting like she was a freedom fighter.
I get up to stand up and talk. Oh, all she talks about is black stuff.
As you should.
I am here to represent every single black woman and man that suffers in the community. I am not afraid to not be elected again. God has my back. And yet, here I am, a 5-foot-tall African woman from the projects. And I'm here to tell you, if the voters don't vote me back,
all of this while behind the scenes, Tania was developing a scheme. At first glance, it seemed like she was just helping family members, but if you look a little deeper, you'll find out that it was definitely more than that. We have to get into how she was reprimanded after an ethics investigation revealed that she violated city rules by hiring her sister and her son to her staff. They brought these ethics charges against her, and in July 2023, Tania admitted guilt and agreed to pay a $5,000 civil penalty. This is all related to her violating these conflict of interest laws.
In Massachusetts, the conflict of interest law is in place to ensure confidence in government, not to guarantee, but to work to ensure confidence in government. It imposes restrictions on public employees and what they can do if they encounter a conflict of interest. The general rule is, as public employees performing our duties, we are required to act in the public interest. Conflicts of interest are those situations that can undermine confidence in government because the public would become rightfully concerned in any instance where a public employee is acting in matters where their private interests are also involved. You know, are they acting in the public interest or are they making decisions to favor some private interest? And so the law imposes restrictions whenever those situations occur.
She also admitted that she was aware of the conflict of interest laws. The laws in her jurisdiction, which prohibits municipal employees from participating in their official capacity in matters they know their immediate family have a financial interest. After her 2021 election to the Boston City Council, Tania appointed her sister as her full-time director of constituent services. She initially set her sister's salary at $65,000 and then approved an increase to $70,000 in 2022. On top of that, she gave her sister a $7,000 bonus. Again, before she was sworn in, Tania was advised that she could not hire family members. Then in 2022, she also appointed her son as her office manager at an annual salary of $52,000. But get this, less than 2 weeks later, she gave her son a pay raise. He went from $52,000 to $70,000.
With the city councilor, she wouldn't go on camera, but she told me she made a mistake. The State Ethics Commission leveling a $5,000 fine against Boston City Councilor Tania Fernandes Anderson for putting her sister and her son on the city payroll. The commission says Fernandes Anderson appointed her sister director of constituent services. She paid her $65,000, later raised it to $70,000 and threw in a $7,000 bonus. Total salary $77,000. The commission says in June of last year, Fernandes Anderson appointed her son office manager and paid him $52,000 a year. The next month, she raised that to $70,000. The councilor ended the employment of her sister and son in August of 2022. It's the latest scandal involving a Boston City councilor in recent months. City Councilor Kendra Lara is facing criminal charges for a crash in Jamaica plane that injured her young son. The councilor, accused of speeding, driving with a revoked license, with without insurance or registration. Police say her son was not in a booster. And last month, the Ethics Commission fined Councilor Ricardo Arroyo $3,000 for representing his brother in a lawsuit against the city of Boston. Councilor Fernandes Anderson also told me she wasn't interested in politics ever again. She didn't elaborate on that. The election is set for this fall.
Funny she said she wasn't interested in politics ever again. That was in July 2023. But she continued to run for re-election and won her second term just a couple of months later in November 2023. I mean, if she really wasn't interested in politics anymore, she would have just dropped out of the race. But of course, she couldn't do that because then she would lose the position, authority, and access to taxpayers' funds for her to steal. Then over a year following her re-election in December 2024, word got out that the FBI was investigating her.
I cannot comment on the case itself. I cannot comment on it at all. I cannot comment on it at all. I cannot comment on it at all.
We are hearing from Boston City Councilor Tania Fernandes Anderson in the wake of reports that she is the subject of a federal investigation. NBC 10 political reporter Matt Pritchard is at City Hall. Matt, what did the councilor have to say? We just heard no comment.
Yeah. I was going to say, JC, you heard a lot of what Councilor Tania Fernandes Anderson had to say earlier today to the press. But of course, while she said no comment, she also committed to keep working for her constituents in District 7 as all this plays her out in the background.
Don't follow me like that.
A return to City Hall.
Thank you.
Following reports of a federal investigation, District 7 Councilor Tania Fernandes Anderson is allegedly the subject of that probe, speaking out for the first time ahead of Wednesday's City Council meeting.
You know what this is. You know I'm not able to comment. You know why.
Councilor, there were conflicting reports about whether maybe federal agents had actually come to your office. Can you sort of clear that up? Can you confirm that happened?
You're asking, even though I said I cannot.
I just want to get it right. I want the reporting to be correct.
I cannot comment and don't know.
Can you say why you can't comment? Have you been asked?
Details are scarce, including what specifically investigators may be looking into.
The government has the right to investigate information that it has that a crime may or may not have been committed. And that's really the step we're in right now.
Boston City officials staying tight-lipped as well.
I'm not going to speculate.
I can speculate. I mean, you were on City Council at one point in your life, probably dealt with controversy during that time. Any advice to the council on how they move forward?
I think we have to let the facts unfold.
Now, many on the council unwilling to weigh in on whether this will impact their work. Council President Ruth Z. Louijean said in a statement that, quote, the work of the council will proceed without disruption, but District 2 Councilor Ed Flynn seemed to say otherwise, telling me, quote, it'll be challenging in the next year because of this.
There is much work to be done in District 7.
Councilor Fernandes Anderson says she's moving forward.
Onward with the people's work.
Something we reiterated last night, we'll do it again tonight. No charges have been filed here. And again, a lot of information still to come about what this investigation is really about. Once we have that added info, we'll bring it to you on NBC10Boston.com. Guys, back to you in the studio.
2 days after Tania Fernandes Anderson refused to comment on the FBI investigation outside of a city council meeting, federal agents showed up to her house bright and early.
Boston City Councilor Tania Fernandes Anderson has just been taken into custody. Here's video from moments ago of the FBI outside a Dorchester home. We told you earlier this week the city councilor is under federal investigation, but neither she nor the city would tell us why. Officials cited the U.S. Attorney's Office, saying the integrity of a grand jury investigation would be impaired by disclosing information. Fernandes Anderson has represented District 7 since 2021 and has faced several scandals. Last year, the State Ethics Commission found she violated the conflict of interest law by hiring her sister and son and raising their salaries. Fernandes Anderson agreed to pay a $5,000 fine. Just last month, the state Office of Campaign and Political Finance sent her campaign a letter saying it had not timely filed deposit information and had taken contributions over the legal limit. We, of course, will continue to update you on this breaking story. Once again, Boston City Councilor Tania Fernandes Anderson has just been taken into custody by the FBI outside her Dorchester home.
And let me tell you how grimy this lady is. Remember the extra money she was begging for at the city council meeting? Well, she was using that money to not only pay bonuses to employees who were also her family members, but she was forcing those family members to give her a cut of the money. Like in this one instance, she got the city to approve a $13,000 bonus for a family member. And side note, she lied. She didn't want to tell anybody that this was her family member. And then her greedy self turned around and took over half the money. She took $7,000 of the $13,000 and left her family member with a lower cut of $6,000.
5 investigates Brittany Johnson, uncovering more about how the case began. She's live in the newsroom tonight with key information that federal investigators used to help build their case. Brittany.
Ben, on the surface, the pay raise was a routine matter for the city council. But when this order was passed in May of last year, it set in motion today's arrest. Blink and you'd miss it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it.
With that, the city council passed a personnel order that approved pay for Councilor Tania Fernandes Anderson's staff. One stood out for its size: more than $14,000 in salary and bonuses for the person now identified in the indictment as Staffer A.
More than twice as much as Ms. Fernandes was paying to the rest of her staff combined in bonuses.
Boston city councilors controlled their own budget, deciding for themselves how much to spend on everything from salary and bonuses to postage. And Fernandes Anderson advocated for bigger budgets. Here she is in April of last year, just 1 month before giving her relative the bonus.
The point is that we're not paying our staff properly.
She and other councilors asked to increase their staff salary budget from $315,000 to $390,000 and suggested
to leave the decision-making to discretion of the councilors.
But the federal indictment said she had another motive: her personal finances in shambles, including missing rent and car payments, owed state ethics fines, and bank overdraft fees.
If we love people and we care about people, we respect them. And if you respect them, you pay them.
The person listed as staff member A hasn't been charged. We reached out to her for comment, but haven't heard back. Live in the newsroom, Brittany Johnson, 5 Investigates.
Straight up greedy and grimy, up here taking cash payments in the bathroom. Now, after such a huge embarrassment to the city, Boston Mayor Wu is one of many calling for Tania's resignation.
The city has to continue doing our business and making sure that what our residents need is getting addressed as quickly and effectively as possible.
Boston's Mayor Michelle Wu says that she wants residents to know that their leaders are working in their best interest. But this incident has broken a level of trust, and she believes Fernandes Anderson should resign from her position.
There is a legal process to play out, and everyone in our community deserves the right to a fair legal process. At the same time, the charges are serious enough that I believe it is of the nature that is going to undermine the ability for the public to trust and have effective representation in this case.
Other city council members have also chimed in asking their fellow councilor to step down, but as of now, she has not made any public statements. Mayor Wu says she has not spoken to Fernandes Anderson since the arrest.
I've been telling y'all for years, these city girls are everywhere. And out of all of them, the political city girls are the biggest finessers. The street girls and the entertainment girls, they may be the face of city girl behavior, but the ones pulling off the biggest scams are in politics. Period. Tania Fernandes Anderson is just another example. They get into office using identity politics as the first this or the first that. Like in Tania's case, cosplaying as a Black American woman, she did nothing for the people. All she did was enrich herself and her family members while acting like she was a spook who sat by the door, only to find out that she was hustling Black American struggles to hang over the heads of her opponents and using that as leverage to gather more resources for herself. You know, one thing we need to leave behind in 2024 is identity politics. How many times are we going to be fooled by these bad actors using us to gain favor for themselves? Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Can somebody please tell me how this African woman who identified herself in her own bio as the first formerly undocumented African-born immigrant to hold her position, why is she up here doing all this cosplaying? Because going around calling yourself Tania Anderson is giving let's make everybody believe I'm Black American so I can slide into these positions, pretend to be a freedom fighter, and run off with the bag. Tell me what you think about this below. Shout out to our brother Randy. I certainly appreciate you for all of your support for the channel. If you want to show your support for the channel too, you have to use PayPal for now. The link is below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.